All right, hello and welcome to our 12th episode of Crimecast, Wichita Police Department's attempt to bring real-time information, hotspots, property crime information, auto thefts, burglaries, larceny autos right to the citizens of Wichita. I am Lieutenant Scott Bruno with the Wichita Police Department Auto Theft Section. I'm by myself right now. Paul Cruz will be joining me in a little bit. He's not in the office right now, but he will be here. Charlie Davidson today, he is in the computer new records management system training that I was in last week. It's good training. That's all I can say about that. Also today I'm going to go through the Crimecast numbers, the hot spots, things like that. And then we have our first guest that we're going to bring in, Sergeant Rod Miller with the police department. He's assigned to our domestic violence and sex crime section. He's going to come in and talk about domestic violence, some of the steps and the enforcement actions that the police department are taking now, and a special unit that's been created to help enforce some of our domestic violence situations. So keep in mind, when I have the PowerPoint up, I will not be able to see any comments or questions that are coming in. So welcome to everybody, though, and I don't see any comments yet. Hopefully we are live. Hopefully, oh no, I do see 46 people at this point are watching. So welcome in. And let's see, this is, what are we, February 23rd. And like I say, episode 12 of Crimecast, which is going really well. We love the interaction that we're getting with those that are watching. We love the questions. We love the comments, just good feedback overall. And let's jump in right away. More and more people are coming in. Let me get the PowerPoint up here. Give me a second. There's Charlie Davidson. Are you coming in at all, Charlie?
No, I'm on, well, I can. Are you by yourself?
Right now, yeah. Paul will be here in a little bit. So Charlie Davidson is must be on his lunch break from his computer training. He probably just woke up from his nap. You're looking at a larcenies to auto. Year to date, we're up 10%. That's over here on the right-hand side of the screen. And the last week compared to the week before that, on the left-hand side, we're down 25%. And the last 28 days compared to the 28 days prior to that, we're down 16%. So it looks like by these numbers, we started off the year trending up in our larceny to autos, but then the last month or so we've been coming down. So hopefully that continues. So a hotspot larceny from autos over the last 28 days. This is K96, so up north and along Woodlawn, or along K96 from Woodlawn to Rock Road. I know I've seen this hotspot in the past. Again, there's a lot of apartment complexes, a lot of residents in this area. And right where this hot spot is along Woodlawn and K96, you've got Home Depot in here, you got the YMCA, and we see a couple of cars that have been broken into right in that area. Moving down south along Broadway and Pawnee, and again, this is still just a continuing hot spot that we see. You've got the Walmart over here on the southeast corner of Pawnee and Broadway, and then several apartment complexes over here, south and east. Even of the Walmart. And it's just, it's one of those things we see when you have apartment complexes, a lot of people, a lot of cars, and larceny autos tend to follow in those areas. Our auto thefts on the left-hand side over here, the past 7 days compared to the 7 days prior to that, we're down 2%. Month to month, we're up 1%. We had 250 auto thefts reported compared to 247 the month prior. Year to date, we're up 58%. We are seeing kind of a downtrend there. That's still a large number to be up. However, we did start the first week, or the first 2 weeks of the year, we were up 78 or 80%. So we are seeing those come down a little bit, but not near enough. We need to work to get those numbers down. 461 automobiles have been reported stolen this year compared to 292. Now, a small part of that is due to a change in our reporting system as well, our national reporting system for crime numbers. We now have to include any means of conveyance counts as an auto theft. So if a golf cart is stolen, that counts as an auto theft. 4-wheelers, ATVs, construction equipment, bobcats, tractors, anything like that counts as an auto theft. So we will see a small number of those are those numbers that before those were not reported as auto thefts. And they are being reported as auto thefts now, but that's a small number of that, but it is a part of that increase. Yep, go-karts would be included as an auto theft as well. Are you in now? I can't see you, Charlie. I got the PowerPoint up.
I'm in, but you haven't added me up on the screen.
Oh.
I'm monitoring.
All right, hold on just a second. I'll bring you in.
Oh, Sergeant Miller's he's not up on the screen either.
Nope, he's going to come in here in a little bit.
Oh, I'm jumping the gun. Hello. I had a joke last week. I don't have one set for this week.
Yeah, that could be a good thing. I don't know. I watched about 14 minutes into the Crimecast from last week. I didn't make it to the end. I hear you got a dad joke at the end.
It was good. It was real good.
All right, yeah. Sergeant Rod Miller's in the background. We're going to get through our crime stat numbers here. He's going to come in and talk about some of our domestic violence numbers and some actions that the police department have taken into effect or recently have enacted to help with some of our domestic violence calls. So hopefully some good information, and we'll take some questions, as well at that time. So let me get back to the PowerPoint here. I'm sure everybody's excited for that. You might have to mute me. I can hear a little bit of an echo there, Charlie. Or mute yourself, I'm at. Auto thefts, last 28 days. Hotspot here. This is Kellogg and Ridge Road. You can see this is a really good hotspot. Actually, 3 hotspots combined right along Ridge Road. If you look just here north of Kellogg, you've got the Lowe's that's in this area. There's a lot of restaurants, a lot of strip malls, businesses in this area. 5 auto thefts have occurred right down in that area south of Maple, north of Kellogg. This is over the last 28 days. If you go to the north between Maple and Central, another 6 auto thefts have occurred both east and west of Ridge there between Maple and Central. And then north of Central along Ridge Road, this is a couple of large apartment complexes in this area. 4 additional auto thefts that have occurred up in that area. So keep that in mind. Keep your cars locked. Don't keep your keys in your vehicles, and don't leave your vehicles running if you're not sitting in them. We've had a large amount of vehicles that have been stolen just due to the cold weather and people leaving them running while they're unoccupied. Never a good idea. Another hotspot for auto thefts, 135 here to the south in Pawnee. And then to the north and east of Pawnee and I-135 down here, you see several cars that were stolen that created a little bit of a hot spot here, and just a couple over west of 135. Auto theft recoveries. This is where we've been recovering stolen cars, and you can see the kind of south of Kellogg in the core area of downtown. A lot of vehicles are being recovered in this area, just all over. So keep that in mind. Our residential burglaries over here on the left-hand side, last week compared to the week prior to that, we're down 21%. Those are good numbers. Year to date over here on the right-hand side, our residential burglaries are down 2%. We've had 193 reported residential burglaries compared to 196 last year at this time. Oops. Residential burglaries, a little bit of a hot spot here along Hydraulic, and this is down south. Here's 135 that's running north to south along here, back to the west over here along Hydraulic, south of Wassell. Looks like there's several little icons in that area that have created a burglary hot spot down in that area. Then you can just see just up to the north between Pawnee and Mount Vernon, Broadway to Hydraulic in this area here. Again, several residential burglaries. We decided to throw catalytic converters again just because of the numbers that we're seeing here. We've also I've seen several articles on CNN, on Fox News, on Yahoo, from the Washington Post, from the New York Times about catalytic converters nationwide. and the uptick in the thefts of those due to the precious metals that are inside of them. So it's not just a Wichita issue. It is a good issue here, but it's occurring nationwide and actually worldwide. But you can see the numbers up here at the top. So far, year to date, we've had 178 catalytic converters cut off of cars and stolen. Last year at this time, we'd had 38. So we're already, those numbers are just tremendously higher, 5 times higher than they were last year at this time. Just a few of our more popular vehicles down here at the bottom. We see the Honda CRVs, have had 12 of them stolen, Ford F-250s, Honda Elements, Ford Econoline E350 vans, and Ford F-150 trucks. You almost see a little bit of a trend with trucks, larger vehicles, because they're easier to get underneath and for people to cut the catalytic converters off of, compared to the smaller cars that are just harder for people to climb under and remove the catalytic converter. I was just reading, though, the Honda Elements have kind of seen an uptick. Their catalytic converters seem to be real popular and almost getting a little bit more money recyclable wise. So keep that in mind. And that's the end of the slideshow. Charlie?
Hey, did you want to do some questions real quick, or you want to jump over to Sergeant Miller? What's your prerogative on this one?
I told him it'd be about 15 minutes in. We'd bring him in, so we got time for a couple of questions. He's waiting patiently. I can see him.
All right, he is. He is. All right, let's see. Jim, he's talking about the stolen cars. Are they recovered? He's seeing a lot of scrapyard close to him, crushes a lot of cars. Any guidance on cars that are getting crushed, Lieutenant? Do we see that a lot?
You know, we will see that somewhat. There's just a lot of cars and recyclable, scrap dealers that are just crushing cars. Our recovery percentage rates, and I haven't checked them for a little bit, but generally we run 60 to 70% recovery rate. And we recover them in all states, from the same condition that they're stolen in to being, having a few parts removed or being completely stripped. Maybe damaged from being involved in hit and runs. I've seen them being stolen and just the catalytic converters being removed. And yeah, we do see some thefts of cars that are taken to, the scrap metal dealers and crushed. So we work with the Kansas Highway Patrol on those inspections. And we do see some of that. Yes. I wouldn't say it's a large number of them, but some, yes.
And then how about there was another one right here I didn't see. Okay, right here. Jeff West is asking about 13th and Oliver. Jeff, we don't have all the crime stats for every single area. We're just highlighting some areas of larceny from autos and burglaries that we're seeing, and that's what we're highlighting here. But if you go to communitycrimemap.com, I'll post the link in the comments. You can look up your certain area and look up any type of crime that's occurred in that area. Communitycrimemap.com. Again, it's the same type of software that our crime analysts use. However, it is information that's available to the public. So again, communitycrimemap.com. Jeff, I'll post it here in just a minute. Oh, I just took that down. There we go. Patty's asking about 6 different cases. Case not assigned. Patty, email me the case numbers. C. Davidson at wichita.gov. Again, C as in Charlie, Davidson at wichita.gov. I will help you out in any way I can.
Yeah, I just added the banner underneath there as well. Our investigations number. She could call 268-4407. Sounds like probably your credit cards are being used in several different places. So it sounds like if that's what happened, usually when there's that many cases, it sounds like your credit cards were probably stolen and are being used. That would go to our financial crime section. So, all right, let's bring in Rod Miller. At this point, we can still come back and address some questions. Rod's sitting here waiting patiently. I'll bring him in, allow him to introduce himself. Rod,
morning,
welcome.
guys. Can everybody hear me?
Loud and clear. Lima Charlie.
All right. Well, hey, thanks, Lieutenant, for having me on Crimecast this morning. I've been watching you guys here for a few weeks now. Very informative program, and I thought to myself, what a better way to ask you to come on as a guest speaker so we can highlight some of the proactive things that we're doing in the Divert program and highlight some of our accomplishments so far since we were created in September of 2020. We are active on Facebook. We try to highlight once a week some of our enforcement actions as well as some of our educational actions that we take in the community. So for the viewers that don't know what Divert actually is, it stands for Domestic Intervention and Violence Reduction Team. It was formed in mid 2020 after we observed an increase in domestic violence. We are federally granted through a grant, a COPS grant, and we are a team of 6, and I am the sergeant in charge of the officers. Divert, we work directly with the detectives of the Wichita Police Department, and we are embedded within investigations. Divert works proactively every day, searching for offenders with warrants, pickups. We conduct criminal investigations on new DV crimes. We assist detectives following up on old cases as well. Our goal is to reduce the victimization through enforcement actions and through educational purposes. So moving forward, just to highlight some of our stats. And remember, we started in September. So far, we've made 158 arrests for domestic violent offenders. We've cleared over 100 felony pickups. So far, we have documented 93 violation of no contact orders. And this is really exciting here. We've accomplished 2 bureau-specific special assignments. These special assignments included community policing officers and the Divert team teaming up with victim advocates and going through warrant lists, responding to active DV calls in the community, and getting those resources and those advocates right in front of those victims as the calls are coming out. So that's been very impactful. We've documented 45 field contacts so far with our victim advocates. So those are some stats that we are pretty proud of so far. Moving forward, some stats as far as aggravated assaults. This year compared to last year, we are up 8%. The DV-related simple assaults, we are down actually 8%. So as you can tell, the 8% increase, there is a need, for this enforcement action. Domestic violence, affects everybody in the community, and we are trying to change the police department's culture as to how we investigate and how we follow up and how we act and react, to these calls for service. So with that, Charlie, I'm not sure if I can post some resource information or not. You might have to help me with that. I think your mic's off, Charlie.
Yes, yeah, I'll definitely help you get something posted. I know we've posted resources in the past. As a matter of fact, every October we do a domestic violence panel with area resources, and our Divert team work hand in hand with these resources. This is not just offender-based. This is victim and offender-based, where they're looking for offenders to hold them responsible, but they're also reaching out and utilizing the resources here available, Stepstone, WASAC, Catholic Charities, all those different resources for domestic violence here locally as well. And they work hand in hand with those resources. Matter of fact, domestic violence is one of the top reasons why women go to the hospital. So it's a very serious thing in our community, and we're continuing to follow up and investigate on those. We saw not only here in Wichita, but across the nation, we saw an increase in violent domestic violence cases since about the time of COVID, about last March. So we're continuing to provide resources and follow up and investigate these crimes. And so, you know, my main thing that I continue to put out during our media briefings on our news releases is if you're in a dangerous domestic situation, or you know of somebody in a dangerous domestic situation, you're not alone. There are resources available. There are individuals to help you get out of that situation and provide you the resources that you need. So yes, we can post those, Sarge.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Hey, Rod, if you would just talk a little bit about really when the Divert team was created and kind of why, what problems you were seeing or what brought that about, because it is a newer unit within the police department.
It is. It was, you know, it was formed in, I think in early stages of 2020. They were looking at the increase in the domestic violence, and some of that was due to COVID. At that time, they started looking at ways to address domestic violence. How can we get in front of this? How can we get on top of this problem? So proactively, we went out and searched for grants, and I believe it was Lieutenant Corey, who is the commander over the DV6 crimes section, applied for this COPS grant. It took a while to hear back, like most grants, but ultimately in September we were granted the grant. The process was we had to select 6 officers and a supervisor. I was fortunate enough to become to lead this team, and then the 6 officers. So you can reach out to us on the Divert page through the Wichita Police Department's website, the domestic violence tab. Divert has its own tab. You can click on that. All of our pictures and our contact information is on there, along with our phone numbers and emails. So if you have questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. Give us a phone call. The post that we do now on Facebook, we get a lot of activity, a lot of comments, a lot of positive comments. And sometimes there's comments, people want to know where their cases are, or why their cases didn't get charged, or, why aren't we, helping with PFAs and getting them served and stuff like that. I would say give us an opportunity. We try to, I know it's my goal that we pick several from the comments list, and we try to reach out to them. We encourage, if you have questions, you have concerns as it related to domestic violence, please reach out to us, and we'll try to answer your questions about your case or your situation. So
I did put that link, Sergeant Miller. I did put that link to your page, to the domestic violence page on the comments. So feel free to click on that, and you have a opportunity to look at those resources that I talked about just a little bit ago.
Absolutely. Thank you, Charlie.
Now, let me ask Rod real quick, too, because you wouldn't even have to have a reported case or necessarily have a police case that's made. If you're a victim of domestic violence, these resources, they can call, they can contact your section. Of course, you're probably going to encourage them to make a police report, but they don't necessarily have to have that made. If they're just a victim and want to talk to somebody, you have resources and stuff for them as well, correct? Yeah,
absolutely. It's not uncommon for victims to call the Divert team, and we'll go out and we'll sit down with the victims, and we will lay out their options, and we will provide what resources are available to them, and we'll get them linked up with a community victim advocate or an advocate that we have in-house.
All right, excellent. Well, thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it. Thank you.
And That's Sergeant Rod Miller. Again, he's assigned to our domestic violence, sex crimes divert team. And Charlie posted over there in the comments a link to our department's webpage where if you're a victim of domestic violence, or maybe you know someone that's a victim of domestic violence and just want to ask some questions, maybe look at some resources, you can contact Sergeant Rod Miller and his team, and they will help you out and get you started down the path you need to go. Thanks, Rod.
Thanks, guys.
All right. A couple other questions. Do have asking about Elizabeth Rentira. It's been almost a year. Where the SUV, I do remember that case. I don't have an Raimundo. I don't have an update right now, but if you email me, cdavidson@wichita.gov, contact information for you, I'd be happy to look and try to get you some information for that. Arlette is asking about restrictions on recycling. You want to take that one, OT?
Yeah, I mean, that's something we're continuing to work on. Currently, all of the scrap metal recycling laws are enacted through the state legislature. All of the databases, steps that they have to go through to register and what they're supposed to follow is all handled by the state. What I need to do is bring on, and maybe next week I'll look at having Sergeant Trevor McDonald come on. He's over our larceny section, and he's staying on top of those numbers and that catalytic converter. He's also been involved in the past in a scrap metal database that was created through the state. So I'll tell you what, next week we'll have I'll see if I can get Sergeant Trevor McDonald on and we can address some of those catalytic converter questions more head on.
That sounds great. Looks like those are all the questions. David helped us out with a joke today. If you want to close out on that one?
I didn't see it. Take it.
All right. He said, where is it here, David? David helped me out since I didn't have one queued up. I got to go through oh, here it is. Here it is. It says, knock, knock.
Who's there?
Nobel.
Nobel who?
Nobel, that's why I knocked.
That's a good one.
Yeah. I liked it. Thanks, David. Thanks for that. Appreciate it.
All right. Well, thanks to everybody that tuned in. And again, we'll see you next Tuesday, same time, same place. I'll let Charlie go so he can get to his lunch. He's probably excited to get back to his computer records management system training.
I am.
It's an eye opener.
We're rocking and rolling.
All right. Thanks everybody that watched. And again, we'll see you next week. See you, Charlie.
See you. Bye.